How do you survive the barrage of mobile games that happens every month? Well, you stop by GameRanks. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the top 10 free iOS and Android games of April 2017. Quick disclaimer, like I said, these are the free games. We've already done the paid games one for the month if you want to go back and have a look at that. Number 10 is Family Guy, another freaking mobile game. And, well listen, it's a fun game. I'm not going to say that it shakes the world of Match 3 like we've had a couple of games in the last few months that have. For instance, last month, Be Glitched comes to mind. But as far as a solid Match 3 game that's fun and good and provides you a few laughs, if you like the Family Guy characters, that's exactly what this is. Now, it does have license-itis a little bit. It does kind of feel like just retreading things that you like from the series. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but the game itself is actually quite good. It's enjoyable. There's enough reason at least to play it. I'm kind of a sucker for Match 3 games, so basically anytime one comes out, I at least try it, and I did enjoy it a lot. It's a fun game. So number 9 is a game called Pixel Drifters, which is a game that manages to fulfill its title entirely while surprising you at the same time. Pixel Drifters does such a good job being what it says it is that I don't know that I really care to ever try another drifting game, at least for a while. It's one of those games that just fulfills what you want out of it entirely. It's a well-designed game that handles really great, and although it can be a fairly unforgiving game, there are going to be a few people that call this one pretty hard. It's enjoyable in a way that I think more than compensates for the steep learning curve. All the cars handle differently, but they all handle well. Nothing ever seems weird. And the developer has already talked about how there's a free update coming with more cars, a new world, and more contraptions such as traps. This is a great game. If you're even vaguely interested in it from what you've seen here, play it. I guarantee you'll like it. Number 8 is Nova Legacy, which is a remake of the original Nova game, which was kind of one of the first-person shooters on mobile. The game has since evolved into more of its own thing, but you can definitely see its roots in Halo fandom here. It's a great game. It's a solid game. And although you can tell it's not a new game, it does look better than it used to. As far as a sci-fi FPS experience, really there isn't a series that has nailed it as much as Nova, so it's kind of worth it, especially if you haven't played the first one, to go back and do so now, because it works in the way that it should, with great performance. It's a very small download, and it's got great multiplayer. Number 7 is Drift Legends, which if you thought I might not talk about another game based around drifting, this is two completely different things. This is a simulator game. It is 3D, it is highly detailed, it is based around physics, and has a very slick, upscale appearance that more modern console and PC games have. Now, like I said, this game is based much more around the idea of accurate drifting, so, I mean, you can't expect it to be the same kind of arcade experience. That's why I'm talking about it. These are both very different experiences, very good examples of the kind of thing that they're doing, though. Pixel Drift kills it as far as an arcade drifting game, but this is the granddaddy right now of drifting simulators. Number 6 is Nonstop Chuck Norris, which if you liked Nonstop Night, you'll probably like this. I mean, if you checked out on Chuck Norris when he started doing conspiracy theory stuff, maybe just ignore that and return to the simpler time of the internet when we, kind of united and thought that he was funny, and I don't know. There's no reason we can't all get along over some Chuck Norris, especially if it's Nonstop Night. Nonstop Night's a great game. You could call this a spiritual successor, you could call it a sequel, you could call it the same kind of action RPG that Nonstop Night is, and you wouldn't be wrong about any of it. In my opinion, great experience. Loved Nonstop Night. Can't get enough of it. Thanks for making more. Number 5 is Office Space Idle Profits, and guess what? It's pretty much exactly what you might expect, except good. Now, there are good idle tappers and there are bad idle tappers. This falls squarely in the good category. It faithfully recreates the plot of the movie, where you start with Milton, he's got his stapler, and you work your way up the corporate ladder, represented in different floors here, obviously, until you can get your virus into the computer system and siphon off tons of money 1 cent at a time. What, have you never seen Office Space? I'm old. Definitely old. It's a fun movie, and for people looking for nostalgia, this is a great way to do it, but for people who maybe haven't haven't seen the movie, it's still a competent idle tapper. It's still something that's actually going to keep your attention, and I enjoyed it. I would definitely watch the movie though. Some of the stuff probably, well, might seem a little unnecessary if you haven't seen it. Number 4 is Transformers Forged to Fight, which is a swipe fighter that really accomplishes exactly what you want out of it. I think it's kind of a lot like Marvel Contest of Champions, but with Transformers, and maybe a little bit more complex system stuff if you really want to get into it, but you don't have to. It's all about choosing the right fighter. If you don't, you can end up kind of screwed, but I mean, you figure it out pretty quick. It's not a particularly difficult game to understand, and you get a nice range of Transformers to play as, from the classics to the Michael Bay films. It's everything you would expect out of it, and even a little bit more. I could even say that some of the depth is maybe even unnecessary, because the main actual game of it is much more fun, and I would say just stick to that and you really have a great game. Number 3 is Full of Stars, which is a sort of chase game where you avoid asteroids through various levels and get currency, but here's the thing, it's kind of an interactive novel, or at very least interactive fiction. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's something that sort of takes the idea of a narrative and a choose your own adventure and places it in a really highly action-packed core experience that kind of pulls together into a completely unique game. It's really, really something that's different. And it's fun. The action sections are really enjoyable. Keeping that in mind, it is a little bit high in difficulty, so you may end up dying and going through certain narrative parts over and over, which is not great. But this is a really unique experience and is definitely meriting your attention. Number 2 is Crash Arena Turbo Stars, which is a BattleBot construction app where you design, upgrade, and improve a robot over time, but more importantly, battle it against other players out there. And I gotta say, this is one of those games that it really comes together great. It's a simple concept, but it's got great art, and the battle design itself is just endlessly fun. You will enjoy this game if you like most any type of mobile game. Finally, number 1 is Trailer Park Boys Greasy Money. This has been quite a month for licensed games, actually pushing out several decent freemium games that are licensed. This is one of them. Now this one, just like the Office Space one, is an idle clicker. It actually provides a decent reason to be upgrading certain things in doing advertising, and provides a lot of silly Trailer Park Boys scenarios, like the Prime Minister of Canada getting hit with a bottle of piss, and various other hijinks that sounds a lot like that if you were to describe it. Now keep in mind, this one is a little bit more sweary than the other licensed games we've talked about this month, but it's certainly still worth your time. A quick bonus game for you is Chicken Scream, which aptly describes itself. It's essentially a voice-activated platformer. Look into it, it's goofy as hell and fun. What was your favorite game this month? Leave us a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every single day of the week, and the best way to see them first is a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.